Good morning, everyone. It is Friday, the 18th of August, 2023. Welcome to Morning Brew on Labour Social. I'm Graham Hughes. So today in the news, we're going to get flooded. Half the country is going to be under a deluge of water by the end of today, by the looks of things. Hot on the heels of the wildfires in Maui in Hawaii, we now got wildfires in Tenerife. And just looking through Google at the moment, if you type in the word climate, this is in the news. MOD must tackle impact of climate crisis. We've got, that's from The Guardian, the Financial Times is reporting that investors are underpricing climate risks. We've got the Telegraph reporting that climate change is happening. Oh, that's nice, Telegraph. You've been telling us for years that it wasn't happening, and we were all being a bit alarmist, but never mind. Africa must adapt to it to survive. Africa needs to... This is an interesting narrative. Africa's got to adapt. No one else. Just Africa. Booed residents and urged to join town's climate jury. This is on the BBC website. It's of a town in Cornwall that is at most at risk of rising tides, rising sea levels. Yeah. And new scientists are reporting, is climate change accelerating and is it worse than we expected? Yes. And yes. Well, no, it's not worse than we expected. People were predicting that this kind of thing would happen based on the amount of coal we were burning 100 years ago. So you've got to remember this, right? There's no one alive on this planet right now who can honestly say that they didn't know that this was going to happen, because we all knew. In the same way that in the 1800s, before the link with lung cancer and heart disease and smoking was established by science, they still knew it was bad for you. Do you see what I mean? Do you see that the link was made a long, long time ago? Because it's really simple. You take carbon out the ground, you put it on the ground, you set it on fire, creates carbon dioxide that goes up into the sky. And we have known for well over 100 years that carbon dioxide in particular is a very effective blanket, essentially, around the world. The BBC 9 hours ago was reporting how Canada's wildfires are warming the stratosphere. There's Euronews is reporting fears. This is all today, by the way. This is all in the last 24 hours. Euronews is reporting fears grow that climate change could put an end to fishing in Ireland. Because one of the things that we're seeing now with the rising temperature in our oceans, which are just off the freaking charts, it's kind of scary, right? There's two things that happen three things actually. Let's go through them. First of all, rising temperature of seawater means that more ice will melt. Now, if you look at it one way, you can go, well, the entire Arctic can melt because it's an ice cube floating on the water. It's not actually adding to the amount of water in the sea. But if Greenland, which is a big island, and if Antarctica, which is a freaking continent, melts, then we could see sea level rises of up to 66 feet, which would put the vast majority of human habitations underwater. Great. Okay, cool. Let's not do that. Then the other thing is that water, when it's warmer, is slightly, it takes up more density. I mean, it's what was the right way of putting this? It expands. That's the word. Science, yay! Science on Friday morning with Graham Hughes. Water expands as it gets hotter. Not by much. If you a cup of water and you put it in the microwave, you're not going to notice that it's expanded. But when you're talking about how much water is in the oceans, it's significant. It's significant. So just the fact that the water in our oceans, it's half a degree warmer than it ever has been for millions of years, possibly. Is a huge problem. It's a huge problem for human habitation. And then finally, if you have warmer water, you have more oxygen in the water, and that affects the fish and can kill fish. And that's the story, I assume, on the putting an end to the fishing temperatures. No, this is to do with rising temperatures could appear to be pushing some fish to colder waters out of reach of some boats because the water gets too hot, there's too much oxygen in it, they have to move. Anyone who's owned tropical fish will know how, or any fish actually in the aquarium, know how difficult it is to keep the bloody things alive. They're worse than houseplants in that respect. So we've got the floods that we're going to have today in the UK. We've got the wildfires going on in Tenerife right now. We've had wildfires in Greece. We've had wildfires in South Korea. We had this Scout Jamboree, worldwide Scout Jamboree in South Korea, which had to be abandoned because of the high temperatures. And there's a point where humans can't really operate outside in such high temperatures. Now, you look at somewhere like the Middle East, Qatar or UAE, right? So Dubai. The temperatures there already in the summer in August. Now I was in Dubai once for an entire August. You go out of an air conditioned building and it's like opening the door to your oven. Like it's just this whoosh of hot air in your face, and humans can't survive in that. Humans cannot survive in that, and the idea that Dubai is going to turn itself into this kind of Disneyland with people going to Dubai to go and do the exciting things in Dubai, they can forget about it. Dubai, the UAE, the whole of the Middle East have destroyed their own future because their cities are going to be uninhabitable. And you say, well, they'll have air conditioning. You can't have air conditioning along the street. You've got to leave where you live at some point, or you're under house arrest. You're under lockdown. So is that what you want? You want to live in a city where you cannot leave the house during the daytime hours for any reason because it will you will literally die. Your organs will shut down because of the intense heat. We just can't cope with it for more than, a few minutes. I mean, it can really be that bad, especially if it goes over 50 degrees. Then we're really, really in trouble. And I've said this before and I'll say it again. And I know some of you watching this are like, Graham, stop banging on about climate. I mean, no, we have to bang on about it because there's a couple of things that are annoying me at the moment. First of all, the way that we describe it as 1.5 degrees of warming, and everyone goes, oh, so what? Do you know what I mean? I'll pour me tea now, and literally pouring this tea out of this flask is going to reduce the temperature of the tea by probably 10 degrees, not just 1.5 degrees. It's not much. It's not much. What they should be gauging it, how they should be gauging it, is the amount of energy that was taken out of the ground and taken out of the ground, put on the ground and burnt, and the amount of extra energy that's in the atmosphere now and on the surface of the planet, I should say, as a result of our actions. And that equates to a nuclear bomb, a Trinity-style nuclear bomb, going off every second of every minute of every hour of every day. For every week, for every month, for every year since they signed the Magna Carta. That's the equivalent energy that we have put onto the surface, from underground onto the surface. Now on the surface, it's in the air, it's in the atmosphere. This is the problem. So that's one thing. The other thing is I am seeing an increase in people on Facebook who I'm friends with because of the EU. The Brexit wars when we were trying to stay in the EU because that was the sensible option. There's a few of them who have decided now they're going to start spreading extinctionist propaganda. So as you may know, I try and refer to the fossil fuel companies and the politicians who support them, and those billionaire scumbags who are destroying the planet left, right, and centre. Don't forget that 40% of the carbon emissions in the entire world are caused by the richest people in the world. Yeah, they're putting out this extinctionist propaganda. These are people who obviously want humans to go extinct, I guess, and take out all the other species of animals with them, because we're in the middle of an extinction event, like on a level with when the dinosaurs got wiped out, or the Permian extinction. Permian extinction, very interesting, caused by climate change, wasn't caused by a meteor. It was caused by the climate changing and the organisms on the planet not being able to adapt to the new environment. 99% of all species that have ever existed are now extinct as a result of these extinction events. And we're causing this one. And people are sharing memes supporting the extinctionists, and they think they're really smug and they think they're really clever. There's one where I'm sure you've seen it. There's someone plugging in their electric bike, and they're plugging it into a power station that's belching out all this disgusting toxic gas into the atmosphere. And I'm like, so sorry. You got a problem with people using electricity to power the transport, and what you would prefer is for them, instead of having a power station which isn't going to be coal in the UK. Let's make that very clear. It's over 50% of our energy mix at the moment is coming from renewables. So I don't know where they got that idea. But even if it was, you don't have the transportation that you need when you have a fuel container coming, a fuel tanker coming from the refinery all the way to the petrol station where you get your car and then you fill up the car with petrol and then you burn the freaking petrol. But the other meme that I'm seeing a lot of is electric cars go on fire more. Okay, can I just shoot this down? That's bollocks, right? I just come out and let's just say it, because I really get irritated when people go, oh, but you never know. No. Statistically, your electric car is less likely to go on fire than your petrol car. The reason for this, stay with me here, is that you're not putting a very, very explosive bloody liquid into your electric car. You're putting electricity into it. The problem with electric cars when they go on fire is because of the batteries, they burn at a much higher temperature and it takes a lot more water to put them out. So we need new techniques for firefighters, fire people, firemen, fire women, to put out these fires that we're going to have more and more of in electric cars, just because there's going to be more of electric cars. But statistically, as a proportion of the number of cars on the road, electric cars, even Teslas, and I'm no fan of Elon Musk, even Teslas are a lot less likely to go on fire in the first place as a result of a crash or whatever than an internal combustion engine car. The clue is in the name, internal combustion engine. It literally makes little explosions happen that drives the pistons up and down in the engine that lets the car travel. So, yeah, two things there. It's like that people are putting these memes out going, oh, yeah, people who use electric cars, they're really just using more, raw materials. If you think about it, they're not. They're just not. I mean, and then that one that people go, oh, well, what about the cobalt? Hey, what about the cobalt? The coltan, the coltan tantalite, is it? Coltan? That all comes from Congo. And I'm like, yes, so does the coltan in my phone. So does the coltan in my laptop, unfortunately. And that's not great. And we should have a better system. Or how about we help Congo get out? Well, it's Democratic Republic of Congo. It's not Congo. How about we help the DRC out a bit more than we currently do, instead of just going, we want all your natural resources and we don't care what you do. A bit of support might not go amiss. Just saying. Anyway, right. I've had well over 5 minutes, so I'm going to bring in your chat. Now, the reason I'm doing this is that Phil and I think that we have sussed out why these videos have all been automatically put onto the naughty step in terms of limited ads. And yesterday, I did a bit of a test while Phil was presenting, and he basically, I made it so that the text did not come up until 5 minutes into the show. And it didn't, for the first time since Labour Social started at the end of March this year, it didn't automatically limit the ads on this video. Whew. So hopefully that has happened again. I don't know, but I'm going to have to jump into the chat now, especially because Johnny Copperhead, thank you very much, £5 super chat there. On a more cheerful note, I see Florida is suffering outbreaks of dengue fever and leprosy. Yes, it is. And also, I said this before, and it's a horrible thing to say, but I can see a situation this year, because with the warming temperatures of the oceans, it makes rain more likely, it makes storms more likely, it makes hurricanes, typhoons, everything more likely, more extreme weather, more moisture in the air, because obviously the sea is evaporating at a faster rate, because of that 0.5% increase in the temperature worldwide is it's a lot of energy. Anyway, so that's evaporating more, creating more clouds, creating more rain. We're going to get more floods. I can see Florida and perhaps some islands in the Caribbean absolutely getting mullered in this upcoming hurricane season because of the temperature of the oceans. And don't forget, this has been exacerbated by the El Nino effect, but also us. We're a big part of that. The El Nino effect has been going on for thousands of years without that much bother. But what we're going to see is not just massive hurricanes. We might see a situation, especially in Florida, especially in south of Florida, I'm at the Florida Keys, where the storm surge may well come in. It might not go back out. And when that happens, you are going to see two things. First of all, people claiming like crazy on their insurance. And then the second thing will be them discovering that insurance companies have known about climate change for a very long time. And they will say, oh, well, sorry, you're not insured against that. And they'll be like, what? No, sorry, yeah, read the small print. We said, we're calling this an act of God. It's not an act of God. It's humans. Humans did this. It wasn't a celestial being going, slightly warm the temperature of the oceans. That will mess with them. No, we did that. We did that with our absolute obsession with oil, gas, and coal. That needs to just be stopped. And this is why I support Just Stop Oil. I mean, people go, oh, well, they're disrupting sporting events. And I will go as far as to say, I don't think that they should be walking slow in the road, because that just pisses people off, like normal people. Going to George Osborne's wedding and throwing orange glitter, or going to, confetti, or going to Wimbledon and throwing a jigsaw up in the air. Great. Get all the publicity you can. But, they might not be going far enough, which is the worry. Like, when women were trying to get the vote, people died. People died protesting for women to have the vote. And I can't see any other way that the climate debate is climate debate. There's not even a debate. The climate crisis that we need to tackle, people just aren't taking it seriously enough. And I think that there will be a point, unfortunately, where things are going to happen. Very horrible things are going to happen, with people getting more and more desperate, going, will you please do something about this? How about, Tory government, get rid of your ban on onshore wind farms? Because we literally have a ban on onshore wind farms in this country in the middle of a climate crisis. The head of the UN said it's not just global warming anymore, it's global boiling. And it is. People are dying from the heat. People are dying from fires. People are dying from the floods. And the big one, famine. So this summer, it's looking like this is an absolute mud bath, an absolute washout. We had rain all through July, and we've got more rain on its way. It's going to rain all next week in many parts of the UK. We're going to have floods this today, actually. So just imagine you're a farmer. Let's say you're a potato farmer. Let's be a potato farmer, right? Your field full of potatoes is basically mush because of all the rain. How do you farm? How do you harvest your potatoes? You can't put a machine on there; it'll sink into the mud. I mean, maybe you could spend literally £1 million on a machine that can go into the muddy field and get the potatoes out, but you won't make enough profit from selling the potatoes to make that worthwhile to buy the machinery. And there's no subsidies anymore because, hey, we pulled out the Common Agricultural Policy. That was clever, wasn't it? So, at a particular time where farming might get into crisis, we've pulled out of a massive safety net that would ensure food security for this country. Good, that, isn't it? So, yeah, you can't get you can't get your crops out the ground. So not only has Brexit messed things up for farmers in terms of having people come over and pick the crops, they also now can't get the crops out the ground, even with machines, because climate change means it's raining too much. And yeah, there's got to just be more of this. We're going, oh, this is the hottest summer on record. No, it's the coldest one for the next sort of 50 years. And I just can't stress this enough. We need to be doing more. We need to be doing better. And I'm going to keep on the pressure on Labour when they get into power next year, touch wood, to keep on this green agenda that they promised in the last conference last year. We had Ed Miliband saying that we are going to give 27 billion to green energy, green industry, running up to 2030. That's been dialed back a bit. the ULEZ schemes around the country have been dialed back a bit. Someone's going on to me, oh, but, ULEZ is just about local pollution. It's nothing to do with global pollution. Yes, it's both. It's literally both at the same time. It's like cigarette smokers thinking that they're only affecting the people in their immediate surroundings by smoking. They're not. They're actually affecting the NHS because they cost the NHS a lot of money when they get cancer. But also, their dog ends, their cigarette butts that go into the ocean. This is a fascinating little factoid for you. The most pollution in the oceans by weight, most plastic pollution comes from fishing tackle, so fishing equipment from fishing boats. The second highest in the world, the second most amount of plastic pollution in our oceans comes from cigarette butts. Every smoker, who's finished a ciggy, thrown it on the floor, stamped on it, kicked it in the gutter, that's gone into the drains, it's gone into the ocean, and it's clogging up the ocean, destroying the ocean. Nothing is localized. Nothing is localized in that respect. You pollute, you pollute your local area, you're polluting the entire planet. That's just the way it is. So yeah, ULEZ, bring it on. Bring on ULEZ for everywhere. I'm sick of it. Why should people who live in Hackney, someone made this good point, where only 30% of people have cars, have to put up with the pollution of people driving through Hackney to get to work? Not fair. Why should I have to put up with the pollution of someone driving to work through Hackney up in Durham? I know you might say, well, that's a long way from London. It's 3 hours on the train. Yes, it is. But we all share the same planet, and there's no planet B. Right, I'm going to just get into your chat because I've been neglecting you. I'm so sorry. If you want me to definitely read your message, I will read it. If you give a super chat in, it comes up big on my screen. It's like super chat, a little bit of glitter. Tim says the problem isn't the number of fires, it's severity. Well, Tim, I'll say it was both. Graham, I'd love to visit Israel. Have you been there? Yes, I've been to every country in the world, David. But I've only been to Jerusalem, so I haven't been to many beaches. And I'm not a very beachy person because I'm ginger and I ban. Duke Vengeance says, great things for the West Midlands, like flying here in helicopters and chatting bollocks and then flying back out again. Indeed. Amark is slowing down, but no one can predict yet when it might stop. Might be tomorrow, might be in 200 years' time, but we're messing with that too. You missed a chance there, 31 Blaze. You could have said, might be tomorrow, might be the day after tomorrow. So the AMOC is the Atlantic. Someone help me out here. Something oceanic current, right? So basically, this thing, Metachlorian, isn't it? No, that's Star Wars. It's essentially the Gulf Stream. It's not the Gulf Stream because the Gulf Stream is something slightly different. Let's all get technical, But essentially, what you think of as the Gulf Stream is actually the AMOC. It's the circulating current of cold water coming down from Greenland and then warm water coming up from the Gulf of Mexico, or thereabouts. Essentially, it's slowing down, and it might stop. And if it does stop, we are going to learn very quickly that we are on we're not on a flat planet, for starters. Sorry, flat earthers who are watching this, you're wrong. We are actually on a globe, and where we are positioned in our country, in the UK, we are on the same line of latitude as Lake Baikal in Siberia. The only thing keeping Western Europe so warm during the winter months, we don't get permafrost and we don't get, winters where we have to literally dig our cars out of the snow, but we will, is because of this current of warm water that comes from the Caribbean. If that shuts down, we're going to freeze. We're going to have freezing cold winters where we can't grow anything because it's going to be freezing cold. And then we're going to have scorching hot summers where we can't grow anything because it's scorching hot. Or wet summers where we can't grow anything because it's scorching hot for a month and then it just rains for a month, which isn't great for growing things. It's not great for harvesting things. We are dicking around with the thermostat of the entire planet. And it is having some epic effects. Now, what I want to see, not just action from politicians, not just action from Labour, I want to see court cases. So we've seen this week with Trump in America, and I should laugh. Let's all laugh. Let's all laugh at Trump and his idiot friend, his idiot scumbag mates who incited a riot that took over the Capitol, the Parliament of America. That went into the building, led to the deaths of 5 people, led to the injuries of over 130 police officers. The guy who pulled out the Paris climate change agreement, the guy who said he was going to build a wall against on the border with Mexico, and he was going to get Mexico to pay for it, and he ended up building 6 miles of wall, was it? Yeah, 6 miles. Was that what he did? Yeah, well done, Trump. What did he do? And people go, oh, he didn't start a war. I'm like, okay, did Obama start a war? Don't recall him starting a war. I recall, things going on in Libya and obviously the surge in Afghanistan that didn't actually work in the end, but I don't remember him starting a war. Do you? Did he? Is that something I missed? Did Clinton start a war? What war did Clinton start? Are you going to include the NATO operations in the former Yugoslavia as starting a war because that war was already going on? The K4 troops that were sent into Kosovo. That war was already. I don't know. It just seems like a weird thing that Trump supporters say. Oh, he's the only one who didn't start a war. I'm pretty sure there was a few presidents who didn't start wars. There were a lot of them who liked starting wars. I mean, Ronald Reagan just invaded Grenada one day because he felt like it. What's all that about? Anyway, the point being, with Trump, his downfall is the court system, and the more I look into, God, that sounds like I'm some kind of academic. I'm not. The more I read about the case in Georgia against Donald Trump, the more kind of it's the hope that kills you. But the more I'm thinking, he's absolutely FUCK'd. Like, there's no way out of this for him or his cronies, because it's not only is it a state law, so he can't pardon, he can't be pardoned by a future Republican president for these crimes. He can't pardon anyone else if he becomes president. He can't even pardon himself. And the charges that they've got, the racketeering charges, which were brought in for, gangsters, for mobsters, for top-level drug dealers, are being used against him, which I think is very appropriate. But also, it gets better. Because there was a guy in the 1930s or 40s who was a proper KKK, Klansman, white supremacist scumbag, who managed to become governor or something of Georgia. Sounds about right. He was giving out pardons they were sweeties at a candy store. He would go to he would have his men go to prisons with pardons, with signed pardons with no name, blank, signed by the governor, and they would sell them to the highest bidder in the state prisons. And because of the actions of this massive racist, they had to change the rules in Georgia, which is kind of unique in the whole of America, to say that the governor or whoever's in charge cannot give pardons. They had to tighten up the rules because of someone from the KKK. Wow. I mean, just so even if Trump gets his person in as governor of Georgia, or person in charge of who can give out pardons in Georgia, they can't give out pardons. It has to go through the whole legal system. It has to go through their equivalent to the parliamentary system in Georgia, which it won't, because it's got to be a 60 majority. And this legal document, I talked about this in one of my moments of truth. This legal document that came out last week. Jesus, it's been a long week. This legal document that came out last week, and it was it was written by 2 law professors, and they basically said because of the 14th Amendment, Trump can't stand again. Any state can say no, we're not putting you on the ballot. We're not putting you on the ballot. Simple as that. I'm going to jump into the chat, and then I want to talk a little bit about Labour Social. So stay with me because it's 10 o'clock now. Great British Video Gamer says, no, don't laugh, just hunt them down and imprison them. Yes, sorry, just to go back to why I mentioned that is because I think that the only way we're going to rid the world of these fossil fuel scumbags, extinctionists, who are trying to drill every last drop of oil out of the ground and burn it before they die, because they don't care about the future of this planet. They only care about themselves and feathering their own nests and dying in a gold coffin. well, possibly shitting on a gold toilet. I don't know. But like, the point is that the only way we're going to stop these is through the court systems and bringing these bastards to book for what they've done to this planet, knowingly, with open eyes. It's criminal conspiracy, the likes of which the world has never seen before. It makes the smoking conspiracy, where they pretended there was nothing wrong with smoking, and you can't really trust scientists about this. Sound familiar? It puts that to pale, because smoking at the end of the day, although the dog ends are all in the ocean now, it did just kill the people who were smoking and the people around them. This is killing the planet, the habitable part of our planet. And let's not get fatalistic about this. We can mitigate against the worst effects of this if we act now. But we need people with deep pockets, or people in politics who are willing to take these companies to court and say, right, that's it. Not this select committee bullshit turning up and going, yeah, well, we did kill all those people, but what are you going to do? No, take them to court. Take them to court, put them in jail. Put every single stinking one of them in jail, and take the money that they have earned and put it into mitigating the effects of the crime that they have committed. The crime against not just humanity, their crime against life on this planet as a totality. Anyway, so yeah, in Georgia, the governor can't pardon Trump unless there's a constitutional change in the state's constitution. From Sundarian, yeah. Also in Georgia, the pardon board can only pardon someone who has been in prison for at least 5 years. Yes, that's another point. Thank you very much, Landon. Very good. Yeah, I forgot about that. So, and also with the RICO charges, it's basically a 5-year minimum charge. And also with the RICO charges, there are 18 other people who are co-defendants with Trump who have also been indicted. And if one of them goes down, they all go down, because they're all part of the same conspiracy. They need to prove that they're all part of the same conspiracy first, and then they just need to prove one crime by one person in one instance. And they go, right, you're all going down for that crime. Even if they have no knowledge of that particular crime, even if they weren't in the room when it happened, it doesn't matter, because they're all part of the same conspiracy. They're all trying to affect the election result by cheating, basically, with these fake electors and this phone call that Trump made to say, hey, can you find me 11,780 votes or whatever it was? Oh, my God. That's the insanity pardon. Yeah. Anyway, so, right, exciting things happening with Labour Social. So, had a big, long conversation with Phil Morehouse yesterday after the show. And we're talking about where we want the channel to go next. Obviously, we need to grow our audience, and that's you. So if you're watching this and you're not subscribed, please subscribe. But also, we need to grow our Patreon and our YouTube membership community. And I also want to grow the Discord community, which we don't use as much as we should. That's my fault. I need to spend more time on it. So, to that end, I would like to do a couple of things. First of all, we are going to have a new show, which I've mentioned on every Sunday afternoon. Look out for it. It's called Labour Vision, and it's with Phil Morehouse, and he's talking about Labour policy. He's talking about what's going on, but as it pertains to Labour policy, future Labour policy. And Phil knows more about that than probably the Labour front bench, to be honest with you. It's quite something. On Mondays, why did I say that weird? On Mondays at 8 o'clock, join us for the Swear Jar with Super Tansky, in which Super Tansky and I will be having a chat about what's in the news and politics and things like that, and trying not to swear. Every time we swear, we've got to put 50p in the Swear Jar. If you want us to swear, you can throw a super chat in our direction, but that's up to you. On Tuesdays at 8 o'clock, I'm going to be doing a new show, which is going to be exclusively for patrons and for YouTube members for Labour Social. Okay, so that's going to be just for you guys. There's only going to be probably 25 people watching it, but that's just going to be for you. I can put that out on Patreon, and what will happen is it'll be an unlisted video, and I'll give you the link to it as well. I could do it through Discord, but I know there's a few people who don't really use Discord, don't have an account with it, so it won't be much use to them. But no matter what tier you are on Patreon or on YouTube membership, you will get access to that content on Tuesday evenings from now on. So they're the new shows that are coming up, 3 new shows from next week. So please look out for them. And yeah, if you've got any suggestions or things that you'd like to see this channel do, at the moment we are a little bit stuck in our home studios because it just costs too much to go anywhere and film stuff. And if I film another podcast, I've got to buy a round of drinks for everyone. And I don't really have the funds for doing that at the moment. But we will see. We'll see how it goes. But look out for the new shows that are starting next week on Labour Social. We'll see how they go. Some of them might do really well. Some of them might not do so well. But we'll see. Also, I'll be updating the laboursocial.com website, so it has all of the shows and the times, so you can know when things are going to be on, and it doesn't feel quite so ad hoc. And also, just at the end of this, I just want to say, I am going to try my very best to make at least 2 moments of truth a day, talking about a particular news story that I am vexed about and want to crack jokes about or whatever. So look out for that. I will be back at 1 p.m. today with Phil for the agenda, in which we're going to have a roundup of the week's news. So again, please join us for that. And at 9 o'clock tonight, we're going to be doing the Labour Social. Hopefully with Super Tansky, if she turns up. I don't know, maybe. So honestly, the Labour Social, it does usually come across as a little bit dysfunctional. Like, honestly, I've got these groups that I'm in on WhatsApp, and I just put the link in and go, anyone want to join us? Feel free. It's just like, it's pretty random who actually turns up. So I'm like, and then people turn up halfway through and people have to leave. Anyway, but yeah, if you want to join us for Labour Social tonight at 9 o'clock, you are very welcome to do so. Crack open a beer and let's get into it. So, yes, just read Lib Dem conference schedule. They discuss PR on the afternoon of the last day. Excellent. Good stuff. I'd rather see a Tansky swear-a-thon. Well, that's where the super chats come in, mate. So we'll see about that. So thanks very much for watching. I'm going to head over to the Discord server now to go and listen to James O'Brien on the James O'Brien listen along. If you want to come with me on that, that's great. And during the ads, we usually have a bit of a chat if I'm not working on another video. But if you want to join us there, you're very welcome to. If you are a YouTube member or a Patreon supporter, you should have access to the Discord server. If you don't, please get in touch with me and let me know, and I will sort that out for you as soon as possible. So thanks for watching. Thanks for all the chats. Thanks for the super chats. And until next time, I'll say hello, good evening, welcome, and goodbye.